All right. One of the big stories last week, my friends, was the budding feud between YouTube star Logan Paul and the one and only Sage Northcutt. Now, I've wanted to have Sage on the show for quite some time since his last fight. Remember, he was on the show on the Monday after, but then some news emerged regarding Sage, and I wanted to check in with him. So once this Logan Paul thing emerged as well, I thought this would be a good time to say hello to our old friend Sage. He joins us now on the phone. Sage, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks, Mr. Helwani.
It's great to talk to you as always, Sage. Good to have you on the show. Okay, so let's start with this Logan Paul thing because last week on the program we talked to Jimmy Manuel, who was sitting there ringside. Everyone was buzzing about Logan Paul versus KSI. What a great success it was. Sold out the Manchester Arena. They sold all these pay-per-views online. I mean, really telling everyone, showing everyone how to get it done, especially for the youngsters. And then he starts putting out this stuff about UFC, and there you are, calling him out, saying that you'd be happy to put hands. Where did this come from, Sage? This was very unlike you.
Oh, you know what? I wasn't calling him out. I was just kind of making a tweet out there. But I think it's great. I could see. I think any fighter fighting in the UFC would take the opportunity to take a fight against a YouTuber and stand to make several $1 million. So I think it's really cool. And for Logan Paul to want to fight in the UFC, that's a compliment for all of us UFC fighters. Someone that wants to be like us and go out there and be able to fight like us. So I think it's pretty cool.
Are you familiar? Like, are you a fan of his? Are you someone who has watched his videos in the past?
Oh, you know, I've seen like a few little clips before on like YouTube or stuff scrolling through Instagram before. But yeah, I've heard that he has a lot of followers on YouTube, and that's super neat.
Did you watch his boxing match against KSI?
No, you know what? I didn't, but I went back and saw some stuff of him fighting KSI. And KSI is also another YouTuber, is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat how they both fought, and I thought that was pretty cool, them getting out there. And it takes guts to get out there and fight in a boxing ring or an MMA fight or for the UFC or whatever it is. So I think that's pretty cool.
And so on August 29th, Logan tweeted, "The thought of securing a fight in the UFC is exciting. Could finally use my wrestling background, but I hear some other celebrities/athletes want to catch these hands first." And then you came out of nowhere and said, "Let me know when you want to catch these hands." And then everything exploded. And then he wrote, "Bring it on, Northbutt." What did you make of his reply?
Oh, man. I thought that was funny, Northbutt. That was pretty clever. So I told him, I said, it has begun.
Yes.
It's funny, but yeah, you know, I heard that they fought at 190 pounds, right? So if he were to fight someone, and he, as he says, wants to fight someone in the UFC, I'm young. We kind of look like brothers almost. We're both athletic. Yeah, both have blonde hair. It's kind of funny. And I know he had a little bit of wrestling in high school, so that's pretty cool. But I'm not too big for him. Definitely don't outweigh him by too much. So I think that'd be a pretty cool one. That'd be a lot of fun.
And so this is you tweeting, Sage. This isn't someone tweeting on your behalf?
Oh, no way. Yeah, that was me tweeting. Yes, sir.
Wow. I was like, wow, Sage, this is unlike you. But I liked it. It was fun. It was great. Now, he's a big star. I mean, he's got almost 5 million followers, I think almost 10 on Twitter, and then several million on Instagram. This is a big deal. Since this happened, have people reached out to you? Is there any movement on this idea?
Well, you know what? I guess we're going to see what happens. But I know that Urijah Faber, Mr. Faber, my coach, was talking with Logan Paul, and so I guess we'll see if it gets going or what's going to happen with that. But I know he was speaking with him about it.
Oh, my gosh. We just spoke to Urijah earlier in the day. I didn't ask him about this because I was waiting to talk to you about it. Yes. I blew it.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Oh,
could you tell us what happened?
Oh.
We need to get Urijah back on the phone. Could you tell us what happened?
No, you know what? I still need to talk to Mr. Faber about it. All I know is that he spoke to him about it and talked about a few things. So, you know what? I guess we both have to find out.
Oh, my gosh.
Funny.
This is an actual thing? There's actual discussions between Urijah Faber and Logan Paul? That's what you're saying?
Yes, sir. There definitely was. So
Holy smokes.
Yep. So I guess we'll both have to find out. And if I find out, I'll have to let you know.
Okay. Now, Sage, I have to ask you this. Your last fight in the UFC, that was your last fight on your current contract?
Yes, sir, it was.
Now, where do things stand?
Well, you know what? I think the UFC, for the UFC to re-sign me, I think that would be something that's great. I don't see why they wouldn't try to offer something. So I guess I'm waiting to find out. But I think me being young, I've only truly had 1 year total of actual real MMA training, if you look at it. So I consider my MMA training starting the day that I set foot in Urijah Faber's gym, because now I'm at a camp constantly. I'm not in college studying to be an engineer, and I'm getting to put all my time and effort to study my martial art to be the best fighter I can be. So really, I've only had 1 year of experience. I've improved greatly. So no matter if it's the UFC or if it's Bellator or it's ONE FC, whatever league it is, I'm going to be the champion. I'm trained to be the champion. I become the champion in whatever I put my mind to. So I believe I will be the champion. I think the UFC will be able to realize that, and I guess we'll see what they say.
Okay, so are you a free agent? Like, can you talk to any organization right now?
You know what? I am a free agent, yes, sir. I'm not sure how it works underneath my, I guess, what my contract says or anything, but yes, I am a free agent right now, and I know that going to other leagues, for instance, like Bellator, if it's ONE FC or wherever it might be, that guys that are friends of mine, like for instance Rory McDonald or people that fought for the UFC, like Machida, they're making double or if not triple what they were making fighting for the UFC. So I guess we're gonna see what happens, but I know that like them, for instance, are making more than what a lot of the guys fighting for the title in the UFC make.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to see and find out what happens.
Has the UFC offered you anything yet?
No, sir. I don't believe they have. I'm still waiting to hear from them. So I guess hopefully I'll know pretty soon.
What's taking so long?
You know, I'm not sure actually. I know they're always busy and they have all the fights coming up. I'm actually looking forward to seeing the fight this weekend with Tyron Woodley and Darren Till, so that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
And then so hopefully they get back to me soon, but I'll find out pretty quick, I imagine.
Do you feel like you have ties to the UFC? Like, basically, are you emotionally attached, or are you just looking to go where you feel like you're going to get the best deal? If it means that's going to Bellator, that's going to Bellator. You're just hoping to get the best deal possible. Is that accurate?
No, you know what? Obviously, like for instance, Urijah Faber mentioned to me. He goes, "Sage, what are you out there getting paid to fight for?" I said to put butts in the seats, and he spoke to my dad about it, my family, and that's why I told him to put butts in the seats that are going to watch and to entertain the people that are watching, the fans. And he said, not only is it that, but it's also to take hits out there. So you have a very limited time. You never know how many hits you can take. Everybody's body is different, their brain, everything. So you're getting paid to go out there, and you don't know how long you can fight for. So you want to take the opportunity and be able to make as much as you can possibly in the amount of time you can. So, but that being said, I'm only 22 years old now, so I believe in my mind I could easily fight 10 more years till I'm 30-something and without injuries and feeling great, and I could see that for sure. But talk about being emotionally, I guess, tied to the UFC. I'm forever grateful to Dana White and the Fertittas who brought me in the UFC. And that is such a blessing. I'm so thankful to them, and also I think it's incredible that they let me develop as a fighter and start working my way up and learn as a fighter, because I'm the first person in history to come in off of high school and then start doing college and come right into the UFC just like that, right out of high school pretty much. So the first person in history to do that and to be able to develop as a fighter and have the opportunity is massive. So I'm very grateful to them.
And so I'm wondering, has like a Bellator or ONE or any other organization extended an offer your way yet?
Well, you know what? I know I believe my managers are talking. I'm not sure if they're talking to the other organizations or what they're doing exactly, but I know they're taking care of it for me. So I guess we're going to find out what the deal is with that. And I talked to a few friends of mine talking about like I guess what their pay is, for instance, in Bellator or ONE FC, and they were kind of giving me the rundown on it, and so I can kind of understand how everything works.
Do you feel like you're underpaid?
Well, I want to say underpaid. You know, it's not the UFC or the sport of MMA isn't. Unfortunately, it's not about just talent, which I wish it was, about the hard work, the grind that you put in, how much effort, your talent, and how you perform out there. It's not just about all that, because you could be a top 10 guy, but maybe I'm not sure what it is. Maybe fans don't don't tune in and watch some of the top 10 guys or top 20 guys because maybe they've never even heard the person's name. I'm not sure what it is. Sometimes people walk into a room, something totally different, walk into a room and you can have 5 people walk in a room, but one person everybody gravitates to and they want to talk to. I'm not sure what that quality is or how that works, but the UFC is a business and any MMA fighting organization is a business. So unfortunately, it's not based on just talent, but also being able to, I guess, have people want to watch you fight and entertain them.
To the best of your knowledge, typically the UFC, if someone's about to become a free agent, they'll offer a deal before their last fight to ensure that you don't go out and test the waters. Do you know if that happened before your last fight in July?
What was that again? Sorry, the phone kind of cut out.
No problem. Historically, when there's a commodity that the UFC wants to still be in business with, they know that your contract is expiring. They'll offer you a deal before your last fight so that you don't go out and test the waters. They'll try to secure you. Do you know if that happened before your last fight in July?
You know what? I'm not sure if I did basically my last fight in July happened last minute pretty much. I'd been ready to fight and was told I was going to be put on one card, and then it got moved to another card, and then it moved to another card, but nothing was officially set yet. And then finally when they released I was going to fight and told me I had a fight scheduled against my opponent, Zach Otto, it was within like 2 weeks of actually having my fight. So I didn't really hear anything, actually. I'm not sure if my coaches did or whatnot, but I'll have to ask them that.
Okay, that's super interesting. And so is it possible that you go test the market, you're out there, free agent, and you're like, now you're a free man, you could go fight Logan Paul tomorrow, essentially, right? Is this why you're going out there and picking? Because you know that if you're in the UFC, you can't necessarily do this on your own, but you could go do what KSI and Logan Paul just did on your own. Is this where we're headed here, Sage?
Well, you know what? I'm not sure exactly where we're headed. I think if the fight me and Logan Paul did happen, I think any fighter in the UFC would love to fight a YouTuber. I don't see why they want it and be able to stand and make several $1 million because the amount you're getting paid to have a fight like that and have fun out there doing it and be able to not only get to go have that fight, but get to get new fans, if that makes sense. So, for instance, like you said, Logan Paul has all the fans from YouTube and has, you said, 5 million followers on Twitter or whatever it is. Those are people that whether or not watch the MMA or not, now they're becoming new fans of the sport. Not only the UFC, but MMA, whatever it is, fighting mixed martial arts, they're becoming fans of that because you're kind of mixing it together, blending two totally different aspects. YouTube and MMA is totally different, but you're blending it together, and now you have new fans, which is really cool.
Wow. Would you want to do this as an MMA fight or a boxing match?
Well, you know what? I'm really up for either one, actually. I think either one's pretty cool. I think either one would be fun too.
Wow.
You know, either one, in my opinion, either one's good for the sport. And like I said earlier, it takes a lot of courage to be able to get out there and have a fight. And I know Logan Paul just went out there and had a boxing fight. That takes a lot of courage to even step in a ring and do that, and that's amazing. And also to be able to do that and have that fight, it's great for both of us. I know Logan Paul was saying that he wanted to fight for the UFC, and I think it's a great opportunity for both of us.
Wow, that would be amazing. The hair in that fight alone, the stare down would just be phenomenal.
Right?
Huh?
Yes, sir.
I can't imagine a world where Sage Northcutt is not in the UFC. I just feel like you are so closely linked. But this is, I mean, I give you a lot of credit for testing the waters here and trying to find out how much you are truly worth, because I think you're worth a lot. I think it's a somewhat courageous thing that you have done, and I give you a lot of props for that, Sage.
Thanks, Mr. Helwani. Appreciate it.
When do you hope to get this all resolved?
You know what? I don't know if there's a certain amount of days until you have to hear back from the UFC or not, but I'm imagining it'd be pretty soon if I had to guess. So hopefully I hear something pretty soon and we get everything figured out. But I'd love to fight. I'd love to fight soon coming up. So hopefully I don't have to wait too long.
Have you had any conversations with Dana White himself about all of this, or are you leaving it up to your management?
Oh no, you know what? I haven't. I know I'm sure he's busy, and I know the UFC just got bought by a new, I guess, management or new corporation. So that's really interesting. And Dana White, I'm sure, has plenty of stuff going on. So I'm kind of like letting my people that manage me and take care of that kind of stuff, take care of it for me.
Nah, he always has time for you. He loves you. You're a product of his show. Like, you're the guy. Like, you put that show on the map. If it wasn't for you on that show would be nothing.
Man, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I think you should just call him up if you want to. But I actually, you know what? I take that back. I think it's better to let your management deal with all of it. They're the ones who get paid for all this. Yeah, I think so.
Gotcha. Well, no matter what happens, I'm forever grateful to Dana White and also the Fertittas when I first came in the UFC, and all the time I've been able to fight for them so far. And if it's still in the future or if it's a different league, whatever it is, I'm forever grateful for them bringing me into the UFC and allowing me to fight for them. That is huge, and I'm so grateful for that, and also allowing me to develop as a fighter. So I know a lot of people go, well, I want to see Sage fight a top 10 guy immediately, but you got to remember, I just turned 19 years old and come into the UFC. I was also in college for the first year or so, year and a half in the UFC, and then now I'm finally training at camp for the past year at Urijah Faber's and working my way up. So I've had a lot of different things to develop, and I'm growing as a fighter and getting better.
Well, this is very exciting. I want to get to the bottom of this conversation between Urijah Faber and Logan Paul, so we're going to go call him right now. And thank you very much for the insight, Sage. I wish you the best with the contract talks, with securing this fight. Thank you, as always, for the time. And thank you for being so open about everything. And please keep us posted on how it all progresses. I wish you nothing but the best, my friend.
All right, you got it. All right, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thanks
all right.
for having me on the show.
There he is, the one and only Sage Northcutt stopping by. So here, for just 1 minute, we're going to go back to Urijah Faber and get the lowdown on his conversation between himself and Logan Paul about a potential fight against Sage Northcutt. And then we're going to get to Ally Quinta, and then we're going to say goodbye. But first, I need to talk to Urijah one more minute here. And, of course, we just spoke to him around 45 minutes ago. Urijah, are you there? Okay, not yet. I'm going to get him. That's what they're telling me. As they say in the news business, they are efforting. You get it? Efforting? Okay, Urijah, are you there? Urijah.
Ariel Helwani, I am here.
Long time no speak. Long time no speak.
The nose knows when there's news on the horizon.
Sniffing. So we just spoke to you, and I must say, I'm sorry, we don't have a lot of time, but we just spoke for 20 minutes, so I don't feel too bad. But we were just talking to Sage Northcutt, and he told us that you had a conversation with Logan Paul about a potential fight between Sage Northcutt and Logan Paul. Please tell us.
Logan Paul, we had an apartment in the same place, 1600 Vine. He was a big time wrestler when he was growing up. So he follows MMA. I think he might have been a state champ, competed in state a couple times, and so there was some back and forth banter with those guys. And I had actually talked to Logan Paul about coming to train MMA at our gym. And then a day later, him and Sage get into it on the internet. And so I had an initial conversation about him training here in MMA. And then 2 days later, I had to say, well, I guess not. Are you serious about fighting Sage? And he's not opposed to it. I mean, he does have a wrestling background. It seems like he's doing some boxing now, and he's a big, strong guy. So, I think there is some potential there. He does have that fight. He's going to do a rematch with the
KSI.
With that guy.
I think that's breaking news.
And they're going to do that in America.
Thank you.
Huh?
I think that's breaking news. Thanks.
I don't know if that's breaking news. I'm not really up to date on whatever it is, but
okay.
Sage is a free agent.
Right.
He can do whatever he wants. I mean, for the most part, the UFC hasn't made him an offer yet. And we've been asking, waiting.
Wow.
To hear, what they want to do. But, there's some clauses in there where it'd be hard to match a no-holds-barred match with Logan Paul,
Yeah, I bet.
And, I mean, and the truth is everybody wants to put Sage up against wrestlers. Logan Paul's a bigger guy than him, and he's a wrestler. So, I mean, there could be some intrigue there. Of course, Sage has been training professionally for a lot of years and would obviously be the favorite. But, a guy like Logan Paul doesn't count himself out. He's got that growth mindset and believes in himself. And they sold out 22,000 people in the big arena. So, anyways, it just so happened that I know Logan. We're kind of friends, and then that Sage and Logan got into a little back and forth banter, which was pretty funny on the internet. And Never say never.
Any promotions reaching out to you, not named the UFC, about Sage? I mean, I feel like most would want to be in business with him.
You know what? His dad is actually his manager.
Okay.
I just am a coach, and I help out. I help out somewhat. I help out with the management, but his dad has final say on things. And as of reaching out, I'm not necessarily reaching out, but I'm sure there'd be interest. There's rules with the UFC about who you can and can't talk to about negotiating, but I would imagine that all organizations would have some interest in Sage. I mean, the sky's the limit with him. He's improving so fast. I mean, if you guys could see the improvements that are happening every day with him, it's unbelievable. He's such a fast learner. He's so positive. I've got him with Coach Kemp, who's an Olympic wrestling coach, and he's working on his stand-up daily. He's got all these sequences down that are proprietary sequences, and I mean he's incredible as a student, as an athlete, and as a fighter. So for people not to be clawing and scratching to get to him would be dumb. But we're not allowed to really talk about that until the UFC sends an offer. So we're going to see how that goes first.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for coming on, Urijah. I just had to get to the bottom of this, and please let us know how we can help. I feel like the world needs to see Sage versus Logan. I'm just going to come out and say it.
Yeah, it's funny because Logan, because I had talked to Logan about coming out here. I had a bunch of news guys from Sacramento call me because I guess Logan had said he wanted to fight Conor McGregor. And so then, I know Logan, and so we were talking about him coming down here to actually train MMA, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll hit you back when I'm back from Paris." And he had just finished in Paris, and then 2 days later, him and Sage are talking to each other on the internet, and I'm like, "Oh, well, scratch that." You maybe, now there's a little. I mean, I don't know if it's a real beef, but they're at least talking about it, which is funny knowing Sage.
Yes. Okay, keep us posted, Urijah. Thank you for this insight.
All right.
You're the man.
Got it.
All right, there he is, Urijah Faber, making moves. And I know a lot of people are going to, roll their eyes. I know a lot of people are going to say, you know what? This sport started on freak shows. Go look at the old days of Pride and ask yourself why people like, Mike Perry are talking about it, Sage Northcutt are talking about it. You may think that Sage Northcutt is overpaid, by the way. That's not the case. It's the other guys are underpaid. Ask yourself why they're clamoring for this fight against a non-MMA fighter. It's because of the fact that they are underpaid, and they look at the KSI fight and they say, wait a second, if I could figure this out, I could get paid that same kind of purse. That's why. And go look at the early days of Pride. Go look at some of the quote-unquote freak show fights. I mean, this sport, stop trying to pretend like we're all above all of this. We're not. That's why I had no problem with CM Punk. I had no problem with Brock Lesnar. And if you think for 1 second that Logan Paul is above the UFC, or I should say the UFC is above Logan Paul, you are mistaken. If you think for 1 second that they are above all of this, you are mistaken. They are not. And by the way, if you think that MMA is above this, you are sorely mistaken. They are not.